Hey there, fellow travelers and car renters. Mark here with Walter's World, and today we're in La Fortuna, Costa Rica, one of the most beautiful places you can come to in the world. Oh my God, Costa Rica is awesome. And if you really want to experience Costa Rica, you need to rent a car to get all over the place. So we have for you today is advice on driving and the roads in Costa Rica so you can be better prepared for when you come, because there are some things you should know before you come. And the first thing you should know is the Costa Ricans do drive a little crazy, okay? Now the Ticos, the Costa Ricans, are the nicest people ever. They are so awesome, so friendly, so everything, but they get behind the wheel and they're like crazy drivers, okay? So be prepared for that. Now, and the thing is, you'll see it in certain situations, like there's a bridge behind me that's, you can get 2 cars by. But when you're driving around, especially on the back roads and stuff like that, they'll have 1-lane bridges and it says ceda, or wait, okay, or yield, I guess. Yield would be the best word for it. And no one really yields, they just kind of go for it, okay? So be prepared for very aggressive drivers here, okay? Now, and continuing on with that, what you need to realize is that the speed limits here, the locals don't really follow. Like it might say 60 kilometers an hour, people are going a lot faster than that, okay? You need to drive what makes you comfortable, but just know the Costa Ricans will be driving pretty quickly on the roads if they can, okay? And the do not pass lines in there, not everyone follows those, okay? So just prepare for crazy drivers, okay? Just be ready for that. Now, some other things you should know is, now let's say you're driving around and you hit another car or another car hits you. You cannot take the car off the road. You have to wait until the insurance or the police come and the insurance people come so they can figure everything out. If you don't, well, it's going to be your fault for everything, okay? So make sure if you do have a fender bender, you do have to wait for the police and wait for the insurance. Now, they are changing the laws on this, so this does kind of change. Now, if there's a little scratch, sometimes you can move to the side, take some pictures and move to the side, but it is still pretty much, if you have an accident or a fender bender or whatever, you have to wait for the police and the insurance people to come. And that's why a lot of times, when you're in San Jose, you'll see huge traffic jams because people are waiting for the police to show up. So be prepared for those traffic jams out there. Now, another thing that might be kind of annoying to tourists when you are here is you might be coming from someplace you're used to lots of street signs and addresses and easy things to find. Oh, I can figure it out by the street signs. In Costa Rica, there's very much a lack of street signage and addresses, okay? Do not be surprised if you call your hotel and say, hey, where do I need to go? They don't say, oh, we're on number 7 Diagonal. They'll say, oh, we are 80 meters from the Catholic Church to the south. Or they'll say, go 200 meters from the cathedral or from the church and take a right at this factory. That is how some directions are actually given, because the addresses, they're not really showing up, and so it's a little bit more difficult. So what you might end up doing is say, oh, I'm just gonna ask the local where the directions are, where things are, how long it takes to get there. Just know the Costa Ricans really overvalue their ability to drive, and so if they tell you it's gonna be an hour to get somewhere or half an hour, add like 50% onto that, okay? Because it's always longer than what they say. They will be helpful to tell you where to go. Oh, go down this way and take a left, or they'll say, oh, at the big factory, take a right. Just know that you need to be watching out for kind of like symbols and main buildings in towns for people to give you directions, okay? Because addresses and signage is very much lacking here. And when they do have signs like yield or, the lines on the road, which they don't always have, people ignore them anyway, okay? So be ready for that. Now, another thing you might want to look out for is when you are driving here, notice there's not sidewalks here. People literally, they walk on the side of the road and they don't move out of the way, okay? So make sure you are actually, paying attention to those drivers and those people so that you don't hit them, because they're not going to move. So maybe you need to get over a little bit or things like that. So you want to be careful there, okay? So the pedestrians on the side of the road, and it's not just one, it might be a whole family walking crossways on there. You need to pay attention. That's why, take it with the bumpy roads and lack of signage and people walking on the street, I do not recommend that you drive at night here in Costa Rica, because it can be dangerous. Because yes, there are really bumpy roads, and sometimes, yes, they do have the bad potholes occasionally out here, and you might get stuck and you might not know where you are, and it can be really kind of a dangerous kind of things. Also, if you're used to deer running across the road or things like that, here it's iguanas running across the road. So just be careful. Don't get in an accident because you don't want to run over one. Just be careful, okay? So I want to let you know about that. Also, you will see people on motorcycles and bikes going by on the side as well. They don't always follow the rules of the road as well as the drivers do here, if you catch my meaning, okay? So be careful with that. few other things. One, you need to realize is that Costa Ricans might not always let you in, so you have to be a little bit more aggressive with your driving when you are here. Now, don't be like overly aggressive, but just know that people probably aren't going to yield for you for things, so sometimes you got to sneak in and do kinds of things, but just do be careful. Also, when you're parking, some of the places will tell you park so you're exiting, so you might want to back into the parking spot at some stops so you can just take off that way, okay? And I will finish off with a few safety tips. Look, if you don't want to drive when you're here, it is okay. You can hire Turismo buses and Turismo drivers to take you to different cities. Your hotel can arrange for that. So let's say you've been driving, you can't do it anymore. Well, you can give up your car and pay the fine for leaving it someplace else. And the hotels will arrange drivers for you to go to different cities. That's totally fine, easy to do. Okay, we've used that before too, no problems whatsoever. They usually are very knowledgeable. They'll tell you about Costa Rica. A lot of them even speak English, which is really cool here. So you do have that. Another thing is, do not leave anything in your car. Okay, Costa Rica is a super safe country to visit, but cars do get broken into, so do not leave valuables laying in the car, that backpack, passport, stuff like that, where it's visible. Put it in the trunk and lock the trunk, or better yet, lock it in your safe in your hotel room or your resort room or wherever, okay? Because that does happen. And if you're stuck in traffic jams in San Jose, there are people that are known to like come by on their motorcycles, break a window, take a bag out of the back. So just don't have anything out, because that's one of the kind of safety issues you want to be careful about. Now, the last safety advice I want to give you is, as a tourist driving around, okay, you're going to see all this beautiful nature here in Costa Rica, and you're going to want to stop and take a picture. Look, make sure there's nobody behind you before you do that. I've seen a lot of accidents and a lot of almost accidents when tourists have like stopped and go, oh, I want to get a picture of this Arenal. And literally, we were on a tour, and our tourism bus almost literally took out an entire car of tourists because they stopped in the middle of a downward slope. Look, you got to be careful, you got to be responsible when you're driving as a tourist, just like any time. And I've seen this enough times that I feel it's good to mention this. If you're going to be taking your pictures out your window, make sure you pull off to the side of the road and there's nobody behind you. I guess another little safety thing is make sure you test your brakes while you are coming here, because if you're in the center highlands and stuff like this, you will have a lot of up and downs and curves, and that can be a little dangerous. Also, if you're coming to Arenal, it does say it's dry season, but it still rains. It's a tropical rainforest, so just know roads can be slick and it can be wet when you are here, so just be safe. But honestly, renting a car is a great option. You get to see so much more. You can go up to, get up to Guanacaste, or you can get down to, Puerto Viejo, or whatever you want. It is a fantastic country to come to. I highly recommend it. With your family, it is totally fine. We have all kinds of videos to help you prepare for Costa Rica. What you should know about Costa Rica before you come, 5 things you'll love and hate about visiting Costa Rica, 10 things that'll shock you about visiting Costa Rica, all on our website at waltersworld.com. Also, if you subscribe to our YouTube channel, video like this will come in your feed a couple times a week from all over the world. And we just want you to know, we want to say thank you for watching, or gracias, as we say here in Costa Rica. And we wish you a great travels here in Costa Rica. I don't have to wish it because I know you will. This place is fantastic. So, safe driving. Adios.